Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli back with another review video, and for this one, gonna be reviewing Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's right. So, what do I need to say about this? I love it. I think it's actually pretty good. Everything about it I think is really good, and I think I can tell it's kind of mixed and such, you know. But for me, I'm one of those people that actually do like this, and, well, that is love it, so, you know. And, you know, Tim Burton's, you know, version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think he did a good job on it, you know. And I think he did a pretty good job doing an film adaptation of one of Roald Dahl's books, you know. Basically, of course, you know, everything about it's fantastic, you know. The casting and the music and score, of course, done by the one and only Danny Elfman. The songs, I think, are really good. Of course, I love the opening to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and the opening credits is really good. And of course, with Danny Elfman's score, you know, really good. And I forget what's his face who did the narration, but he was good too. And what's his face, you know, played Charlie Bucket. I forget his name already, but he was good too. He's good as Charlie. You have, of course, Helen Bonham Carter as Charlie's mother. You have what's his face who played his dad, and you have the grandparents and such, and you have David Kelly as Grandpa Joe. He's good too in this. And yet Grandpa Joe telling Charlie backstory and such about him working with Willy Wonka, etc., and even like say the Indian Prince. Yeah, the Indian Prince. That was, yeah. I think the Indian Prince wanted an entire palace made of chocolate. That was crazy. And Wonka was right that it wasn't going to last for long and he needed to start eating. But of course, you know, nonsense, I will not eat my palace. I intend to live in it. So, but of course, you can't. So... So anyways, and so, even like, say, the Chocolate Factory was closed, and yet Willy Wonka, there's too much for Willy Wonka, because, like, spies were being sent in the factory to steal secret recipes, you know? Even we get a brief appearance of Slugworth, you know, and even, like, how Slugworth appeared in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, so, you know. And so, of course, oh yeah, even... It wasn't until the next day that Wonka had sent out 5 golden tickets, you know, as a banner or something, you know, like, "Dear people of the world, I, Willy Wonka, have decided to let 5 children to visit my factory. In addition, one of these lucky children will win a special prize out of anything they could possibly imagine, blah, 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 blah." And so, we see a montage of everybody around the world trying to get their hands on the chocolate bars to see if they can get the golden ticket, you know. And of course, with the kids, Augustus Gloop, Veruca Salt, Violet Beauregard, and Mike TV, you know, and the kid actors. Well, now they're now older and such, like. They were fantastic. They were fantastic, you know, playing the characters. And so of course, you know, Charlie is the last one to find the golden ticket because while he was like roaming around the street, such he found like $1, I think, on the street, on the side of the street. He goes into like a candy shop or like a store and gets a Wonka bar, and of course. He found Wonka's last golden ticket, you know. And the guy, like, run the cashier, he was really good, and, like, you know, just, like, leave that kid alone, and whatever you do, you know, run, and blah, blah, blah. He was nice, you know. And so, like, Grandpa Joe, when he sees the golden ticket, yippee! He dances, you know, gets out. That's what gets them out of bed. That's the trigger, obviously. And then by the back of the golden ticket, like, you know, here are your instructions, blah, blah, blah. And the 1st of November is when they are to be expected in the Chocolate Factory. So, you know. And so, of course, the next day, they're at the Chocolate Factory, you know. And that infamous scene with the dolls, you know, Willy Wonka, the amazing chocolate tear. You know, I don't mind it, but, you know, if I remember correctly, that song tormented some people, I guess. I don't know. Of course, and then out of nowhere, because of the sparks going off, it causes, like, a malfunction, like, the dolls to be put on fire, basically. And Wonka, out of nowhere, he's right next to, Violet's, Veruca's father, and, like, you know, wasn't that just magnificent? I was worried, blah, 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 you know, and, like, Wonka, he's randomly staring at them, just, like, you know, awkward, and, like, good morning, Starshine, the Earth says hello. And Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka, I think he's not that bad, and I think some of us would get the idea of Wonka being this interesting person, you know, a bit wacky or whatever, and like how he was, I guess, in the actual book. And I guess how Wonka was portrayed, you know, by Gene Wilder, a little bit different and such, but still, you know, if you get what I'm trying to say. And so, of course, they make their way into the first room of the factory, of course. You know, very beautiful, as Charlie says, while Wonka acknowledges what he says. And, yeah, it looks fantastic. Even, like, say, the Chocolate River and Waterfall. You look at Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, the Chocolate River, not really. It's not that pretty good. But in that film, but in Charlie's version, it's like you can actually eat or drink that stuff, definitely. It looks that really good and tasty. And the candy, the first room they walk in with everything, you know, the grass and the and trees, everything. It looks amazing and fantastic. I mean, the sets and everything in Tim Burton's version is pretty good and such. But, and with the Willy Wonka version, you know, Gene Wilder, etc., you know, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it, you know. But, you know, but still, the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, it is still good, you know, and a classic. But, you know, of course with Tim Burton's, you know, I said this, I love it, but just, you know. Anyways, and so, and of course with the Oompa Loompas, played by Deep Roy. Now, I think he does a pretty good job playing the Oompa Loompas. You remember how because we know how the Oompa Loompas looked in the Wonka version. They had green hair and orange face, and maybe, was that a bit too much? I guess, I don't know. But as for, like, the Oompa Loompas in Tim Burton's version, I don't think it wasn't too bad. Because they are, because even as Mike TV says, are they real people? And, you know, Wonka saying, of course they're real people, you know. They are people. They're just, you know, they are humans. They are people, humans, you know, they're just Oompa Loompas, and just, you know, try to understand. And we do actually see, you know, how Wonka encountered the Oompa Loompas and Oompa Land, etc. And then, you know, the Oompa Loompas, they go crazy over the cocoa beans, you know, and the way that Wonka was, like, communicating with the Oompa Loompa just with hands and, like, you know, that was funny. And of course, Augustus, he, you know, they see him drinking, like just grabbing the chocolate river, slurping it and such, and Wonka, hey little boy, my chocolate must be untouched by human hands. He slips into the chocolate river. The pipe that was mentioned earlier, the pipe comes in and sucks the chocolate along with Augustus. And the first of the 4 songs, Augustus Gloop, is really good, you know, because each of the 4 songs has, you know, like, the first one, Augustus Gloop, has like a 50s mambo, Violet Beauregard, a 60s disco, Veruca Salt, a 70s hippie song, you know, a love, hippie, whatever, you know, and Mike TV song, an 80s rock band. And that's really cool, you know, like, one to the next, if you get what I'm trying to say. That is really good. Danny Elfman, fantastic job, you know, with the music and doing the songs, and he even voiced all the Oompa Loompas, basically, in different tones and everything, you know. And I think it was Tim Burton who suggested that he should do that, so, you know, And he did a good job, definitely. And so, of course, we then of course come to the boat, you know, with the head of the seahorse, which that was in the actual book, but it wasn't in the Wonka version, of course, you know. But of course, Tim Burton, because I learned this, you know, because he has stayed true with some books, like when he has done film adaptations from books or whatever, and he has stayed true to some of them, obviously, you know. I guess to all of them, I don't know, but like in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like he did stay true to that. Like he had the boat, of course, with the head of the seahorse. The lyrics to the four children's songs, you know, but of course with the notes, with the tunes, everything, as I was saying, you know. But anyways, and also in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you know, we get to know Wonka's backstory, you know, because he's the son of a well-known dentist, Wilbur Wonka, I think, and played by the one and only Sir Christopher Lee. I mean, he's fantastic in everything that Christopher Lee's done. He's fantastic at, and this being too. So, and from what I heard, like Tim Burton, the reason because why we get to know Wonka's backstory and such, even though that wasn't done, like, say, in the Wonka version, or I don't know, it wasn't even in the book in the book version. But, you know, Tim Burton had to add that in, apparently, as to what I heard, because of time and such, you know. Anyways, and so, and I like how, because Wonka, he says, you know, there's no knowing where they're rowing, you know, nod to the lines in the Wonka version, you know, the infamous tunnel scene. And so, of course, they make their way into the, what room is it called, anyways? The Invention Room, or I forget the name of that room that they're in, you know. But, I remember in the Wonka version, it looked like something like maybe, say, you do laundry or something. Don't you think, you know? But in this one, it's actually a lot better, honestly, you know, very, gadgety, fancy, or, you know, if you get what I'm saying. And of course, Violet Bogart, she chews on this, like, type of gum and such, that, you know, because of Wonka, and, like, he suggested that she wouldn't do that, because naming the flavors and such, because that piece of gum, like a one dish or something, like, you know, because of flavors, everything else. And when she gets to the part of saying blueberry pine ice cream, you know, Wonka's like, you know, that's what I was afraid of, like, you know, that part, you know, because that was to happen, you know, and she becomes blue and puffy, big, like, blueberry, and, you know, as Grandpa Joe says, she's swelling up, and like a blueberry, you know. And, of course, Violet Bogart's are, as I said, you know, good as well. You know, chewing all day long, blah, blah, blah. And so, of course, then we come to with Veruca's Salt and with the Room of Squirrels. And if you guys remember the Wonka version, instead of squirrels, it was goose. It was geese, you know. And I did hear, because they didn't have the technology to do that with you know, try and do squirrels, so they can only do geese. So, you know, and so, but of course, in Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the squirrels are in there. So, you know, of course, and it was in the actual book. So, you know, and so of course, like, Veruca goes after one of the squirrels, and all the squirrels, they tackle her, whatever, you know, and she turns out to be a bad nut after one, like, knocks her on the forehead, goes sliding down the garbage chute, and of course the Oompa Loompas come in, they sing the Veruca Salt song, and, you know, as her father comes down, such, you know, peeps down at the hole and such, and one of the squirrels comes running and kicks him, like, pushes him and such, nudges him or whatever, and he goes down as well. And then also, we come, of course, with, they're in the glass elevator. They go for each rooms, like Fudge Mountain, and one room, I guess, that has sheep, and I guess it has to do something with cotton candy, I assume. And with Wonka, he's like, you know, I'd rather not talk about this one. And one room with the Oompa Loompas are like a typewriter and Wonka, hello, Doris. Deep Roy in that costuming is funny, you know. And the Puppet Hospital, which according to Wonka is just new, like it was recently new that they put in. But, you know, repairing the broken animatronics, the dolls, you know, we saw as outside of the factory. And a little bit more of Wonka's backstory, like, you know, his father basically leaves, and as, you know, because as Charlie told him, you know, then I'll run away, blah, blah. I'm like, fine, but I won't be here when you come back. And, you know, of course, he didn't prove, you know, he was right. He literally left. Like, him and the entire of that part of the building, you know, where he lived in like, the dentist office. Jeez. And, of course, they then come to the television room, you know, and a little bit of Planet of the Apes is there. Even Oprah Winfrey makes an appearance on TV. The giant chocolate candy bar is there, and it disappears and it shrinks into like a normal size of candy bar in the television of Planet of the Apes with the monolith, replacing the monolith with the candy bar. And Mike TV then goes inside the machine, like, you know, and the dome and such, and then he makes his way into the TV, and then, of course, we come to Mike TV song, like, one channel, the Oompa Loompas, like, one is a news reporter, one is a chef, and two playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and a little bit of parody of Psycho in there, you know, the shower scene, and the rock and roll band, and even the Beatles, and it's funny. And, like, Wonka, let's go put him in the taffy puller. And Mike TV's dad, taffy puller? Hey, that was my idea. Funny. And, of course, Charlie's the last child. And I just love those parts where Wonka, he hits the glass elevator door. It's funny. Like, he didn't know it was right there, so. And, of course, they make their way out of the factory. It has, like, little rockets and such, the glass elevator. And we do see this, actually. I can't remember if this was in the book, but this definitely was not in the Wonka version. But in the Charlie version, we see the kids. They're perfectly okay and such. Like Augustus, he's all chocolatey. He's covered in chocolate. Violet, Violet. She's flexible, but also blue. And then, like, Veruca and her father, they're like covered in trash and garbage, everything. And Mike TV, he's all stretched and such. Can't even put on his coat and such. It's funny. Well, and they got what they deserved because they didn't listen. So, you know, little brats, you know, while Charlie was the innocent, kind one. So, you get what I'm saying? Then they return to where Charlie lives and such. And, of course, you know, Wonka tells him that he gets to run the factory and everything else, but you know, his family can't come with him. And I can understand that for once. Like, well, with Wonka, for example, you know, he never got to see his father again because his father totally abandoned him and such, you know. And so you get what I'm saying right there because, you know. But in the Wonka version, like, okay, that never happened. Like, we don't know, Wonka's backstory's not in, but, you know, he tells Charlie that he's giving him the factory and the whole family will move in, etc. So, you know. Anyways, and so Charlie turns down Wonka, Wonka leaves, and they go back to their lives and such, and also, oh yeah, because even at times, like we see in the film, like, Charlie's father works at the toothpaste factory, and and he repairs a machine that was, like, putting the toothpaste lids, you know, on the toothpaste bottles, so, you know. And then Charlie, at one point, you know, one part, we see him, like, shoe shining and such, and Wonka comes in, and, like, they go off, and they find Wonka's father, you know, and Wonka and his father are reunited and such, and we then cut to where, you know, in the house and such with Charlie and his family, and, of course, Wonka's there, and we see, as the camera pans out of the house at the window, the house has been put in, the factory, literally, in the first room that they go into in the beginning. And the narrator, like, besides the voice, like, an Oompa Loompa was the narrator, basically. It's funny. And it's the ending to it is nice, you know. But yeah, Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I love it. I think it's really good. And I give it, well, okay, I'll give it, 8 out of 10 stars. 8 out of 10 stars for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Because I love it. I think it's really good. And you guys let me know what you think of Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Because, again, for me, I love it, and I think it's really good. So, with that said, again, 8 out of 10 stars for Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I hope you guys enjoyed this review video. More new review videos coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video / review video. Take care, and peace out.